You are creative. I know that because you're at Ignite, so obviously, right? But also because you're human, except for the few of you who are animals. But chances are most of you don't actually believe that about yourselves. In fact, research shows that while 70% of us believe that creativity is critical to our future, only 20% of us actually ever realize our creative potential. And why is that? Why is creativity so hard? What gets in the way of good creativity? What gets in the way of realizing our own creativity? These are questions that I've long wrestled with and asked myself over and over again as I've worked mostly in my career in creative roles. And these are questions that I find are really important, not just for people in the creative industry, but for all of us as humans who like to create and make things. And so these questions became especially acute for me in 2016 when I joined the mayor's office here in Seattle to work for city government. It was my first time working in the public sector, and it was really a privilege, and it was an amazing opportunity. I had the chance to meet some really brilliant and passionate public servants who have dedicated their lives to improving our city and life for its citizens. And I gained a lot of respect for what it means to work in government and what it means to work in that kind of environment and to work in a bureaucracy. I never thought I would be someone who worked in a bureaucracy. But interestingly enough, it was a very challenging 2 years working in government. Coming from a private sector background for tech companies primarily and switching into this environment totally flipped things upside down for me. And so in spending 2 years there, I really didn't know how to thrive and how to flourish. And it took me a while to find my footing. But those 2 years gave me the opportunity to really begin answering these questions because for the first time, I was able to see where creativity was really thriving in some pockets and where it wasn't in others. And what were the factors that were contributing to the positive conditions and the negative conditions. And so I want to share with you 4 insights tonight. 2 that are characteristics of bureaucracy that are negative, and 2 things that I found positive for creating good creative culture. Number 1, opposition to risk. Opposition to risk, of course, in government is a positive thing, right? They need to be good stewards of our tax dollars, of our resources, and they need to do what they can to manage those things. Of course, need to manage risk. But it goes beyond the systems and the processes of checks and balances. And what you get is a culture of a value system and a worldview and a belief that risk in itself is innately dangerous. And so this essentially it completely creates an environment where new ideas can't actually find soil to plant themselves in. And so in a culture that's oriented around this opposition to risk, sameness is rewarded over change, and consistency is incentivized over divergence. Number 2, hierarchy. Now, I'm not here to sell flat systems or anything of that sort of holacracy, but hierarchy is about a chain of command, right? And in a chain of command, decision-making rests with the top. And so in a hierarchy, if you're not a decision maker, you're not incentivized to act on your own intuition. And so what hierarchy does fundamentally is it subverts your ability to act on your own intuition, to make decisions autonomously, and essentially it removes and negates any sense of self-agency and self-efficacy in really stacked hierarchical environments. Now the thing is, these are realities that we all face, right? These things, opposition to risk and hierarchy, aren't unique just to government. These are realities that we all face every day. And so what are 2 things that we can do within these contexts to begin championing creativity? And really quick, 2 things. The first is belonging. See, belonging is about safety. Belonging is about recognizing there's something in you that's intrinsically valuable that we desire and we want here beyond your pedigree and your resume. Belonging is about embracing and recognizing the messiness of the human condition and saying all of you is welcome here. And belonging is critical, right? Because you need that safety. And so finally, the last thing is trust. Trust is absolutely critical because the act of creativity is fundamentally about doing something, bringing something into existence that doesn't exist yet. which means when you begin that journey and you don't know the destination, you need to put trust in the person next to you, not in the outcome. And so if you can champion belonging and you can champion trust, I believe that you can find an opportunity to flourish in bureaucratic environments. Thank you.